Hello, Hero Collectors here. How's it going, everybody? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. I know I am, and today we're going to be reviewing these two Marvel Legends figures. We have Ultimate Iron Man and the Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales figure. These both came in the mini comics wave that has hit more recently. Yeah, I'm a little behind, but still, it has been within the last couple months. We're going to take a look at both of these together. If you want to see some of the other figures, I'm pairing them with other figures in the Marvel Legends line, like Adam Warlock with Drax and Moondragon, because I got them recently, and I've already reviewed the Dark Wolverine with the Dark Miss Marvel, because she came out recently. So, since these two were both Ultimate figures, I thought that this would be a really good pairing. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, let's start by looking at the Miles Morales figure so I can get all my complaining out pretty early in this video. As you can see, he is on the more recent Teenage Buck, but this is modified. So the arms are shared and the legs, except for the feet, of course, are shared from the recent Spider-Boy, where they are now pinless and actually changed up from the original limbs that were on this base body. But then this Miles takes it another step and actually modifies the torso to give him the super articulation with the torso here at the crunch and at the butterflies. And even he got drop-down hips with this figure. Now, when I first got him, if you go back, watch my unboxing, I was really confused about the proportions. Something seemed off. Something occasionally does still seem off. But it kind of has gotten into a groove that I like. You know, it looks more natural now that I have him in hand and imposed him. But I don't know if that's just my eyes are now adjusted to it, or if it's actually something clicked better. But yeah, as you can see, this is the figure. It's got a bunch of red painted web lines and spider. He's got the mask on with the squinty eyes. We'll show that again in a second. There's the spider on the back. So yeah, there's the squinty eyes right there. And yeah, in terms of just other details, there's not much really else to say. He does have two thwip hands here. Now that's going to start getting us into the complaints. So then he does come with a wall crawler hand for the right side, a grip for the left side, and then a fist for the right side. Now, I'm one of those people where just give us all the Spider-Man hands at each release. They said, oh, it takes a lot to paint to do the painted web lines on the hands, and then that's why we cut them sometimes. I don't get why they can't just put them in there. You know, we're paying a lot of money for these figures. I want all the hands for a spider character. So the fact that we didn't get two wall crawlers and two fists, it kind of makes me upset. Especially the wall crawlers. Those always seem to get cut, if included at all. So I'm glad we at least have a set of thwips, but give us all the sets of hands we need with this figure. And then getting into the other accessory, we have an unmasked head. I think it's just fine. It's a comic-based Miles head. I think it looks pretty good for what they're going for. My other complaint is the fact that we have just the squinty-eyed head. I wish we had a more natural, kind of wide-eyed, Spidey look that he normally has, and not this angry kind of expression. And you can try to swap the previous comic Miles head on here, but it doesn't quite fit right. So that is a shame. Now I'm going to have to set Miles down to show this last accessory. And that is the comic book that is included with this wave. So for Spider-Man, of course, it is Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I believe this is when he is in the 616. So there it is printed there. It's got the little staples on the edges. Printing looks really good, but I know a lot of people don't like this gimmick. I definitely would have preferred to build a figure, but I don't hate they did something new and fun. So there is that. But now let's get into the articulation. Were all these upgrades worth it? Let's find out. So here at the head, he is on a ball and hinge, so he can look up that high and down that low. He can turn a full 360, but then he does not have a ton of wobbling, even though you can get some. He's got the butterfly joints that go back that far and forward a little bit more if you kind of rotate the shoulder, so you can get some good crossbody there. The shoulders can go up that high. You can rotate there at the bicep. Double jointed pinless elbows. And then all of the hands, including the grip hand, hinge up and down, like so. Then you got the super articulated torso. He can twist here at the ball, or yeah, it'd be a ball joint. You can kind of see the gap in there a little bit. So yeah, he can rotate, he can twist, he can pivot like so. Then he can also crunch. So with this, just the ball, that's how far he crunches forward. That's how far he crunches back. But then you've got the crunch down at the bottom, so that can crunch forward that far. That can crunch back that far. And then combine them, that's how far he can go back. And that's how far he can go forward. So lots of range there. The hips, so without the drop downs, they can go about there and about there. Then if you drop them down, he can go all the way up like that, or like that. And then, yeah, you can't really get much more out that way, but this gives you more forward and kind of twist out. So there's that. He's got a thigh cut. He's got double jointed pinless knees and can kick his own butt. And then he's got a boot cut. He's got ankles that go down and they go up. And he's got the ankle pivot. So what are my final thoughts on this Miles figure? So overall, I try to be a very positive person in terms of action figure collecting. You know, a lot of things could be worse. A lot of things could be better. I try to ride that middle line of being satisfied by what we get. And I'm really trying to love this Miles figure, but the lack of extra accessories has really ruined the experience for me. Give us the full sets of hands, Hasbro. That is my biggest request with all Spider-Man figures. I don't want to have to get a Maximum Series Spider-Man every time I want the full sets of hands. It's kind of annoying, in my opinion. In terms of proportions, it's grown on me. You know, if you're still seeing the legs as too long or the body too squat, I can understand that. To me, it's kind of grown on my eyes to where I'm not seeing it, or something just kind of clicked into place to where it just looks better overall for me. That's less of a complaint that I have now. My other complaint are the heads. You know, I think the unmasked head is just fine. I think the masked head is just fine. I just would have liked to have one more option where it's more natural, wider eyes, and I would have been completely satisfied. Other than that, it's got great articulation, poses really well. It's a good Spider-Man figure. It's just lacking the accessories. Fun factor, I would say yes. It poses well, and it pairs well with some other figures. And the added articulation really adds to the fun factor, so I'm going to say yes, it does have it. And then for a final rating, I'm just going to give him, let's say a 7 out of 10. If you don't have a Miles figure, it's a good figure to get as just like straight out of the gate. It's got good articulations, pinless. It has some decent accessories, but of course it's missing stuff. And the fact that we haven't gotten a comic Miles since 2016, and this is what we get without everything we should get, is kind of disappointing to me. So I can say yes, you can probably get it at full price and be happy, but it's not perfect. Let's just say that. All right, moving on. Now we have the Ultimate Iron Man, and this is a figure that I was kind of hoping they would do sooner rather than later. I wasn't sure if they would actually get to him just because he would have to be all new sculpting and not just a reuse of the 80th body that they've been using for comic Iron Man figures for a while. But, you know, here it is, and I think it looks great. It's got some nice reds and golds throughout, you know, with the gunmetal color. And then you got the few blue accents to really change it up within the color. But yeah, it's got some matte black and then some gunmetal on bits of the armor and some of the underneath. Not as much paint on the back here, but of course it does have it where it needs to be. Got the arms there, shoulder pads. These are a more rubbery material because they have that ring technology for the arm rotation. Yeah, I mean, it looks like Ultimate Iron Man. That's all I've got to really say. I will say when I got this guy, I was able to actually get him in person instead of ordering him online, and I had to kind of sift through the figures. The blue on the eyes kind of bleeds sometimes, so you got to really check those copies if you can. This side's not as bad, but yeah, it is present on several figures that I saw. Yeah. Not really much else to say in terms of the actual paint and sculpt. I just think it looks really great throughout. It looks pretty accurate to what I remember, and takes me back to some of those Ultimate Avengers cartoons, which is a plus because I really like those Lionsgate animated things. So, in terms of alternate heads, he does not have one, but let's get into the rest of the accessories. He does have fists here, and then he does come with a set of grip hands, and then a set of repulsor hands, even though he doesn't come with any repulsor blasts. So these are the blast effect compatible, as are his pegs on the bottom of his feet. He's got some very wide feet, or long feet, I should say. Another thing I should probably point out is he does have these like gun bits on his forearms. I don't know if they actually are used in the comics. I can't remember, but nothing can really plug into them if you would like to. So you might, if you want something to plug in there, you'd have to Dremel it out and make sure you can find a peg that fits. But as of right now, normal blast effects do not work in there. And then lastly, in terms of accessories, here is his mini comic that he comes with. You know, same basic mold as all the others, but of course very printed specifically to Ultimate Iron Man. So you can see the cover of his solo book right there, and looks pretty good. Like all of these, the printing has been great, even if it's not the greatest accessory in the world. So there's that. But now let's go over the articulation. So he is on a double neck articulation, so there's a ball here at the base, but then he's got a ball and hinge here at the head. So with those together, he can look up that high. You kind of have to really angle to try and get some more. But once you get the torso articulation in there, he'll look up higher. He can look down that far, really bury the chin. He can tilt side to side, and of course, rotate side to side as well. Yeah, you can get all kinds of rotation. Then here at the shoulders, like I mentioned earlier, the shoulder pads will rotate, but then the shoulders go up that high. He's got a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. Then all of the hands hinge up or down and up. Got that right. And then here at the torso, he's got a double ball super articulation thing going on. So he's got a ball here at this cut and a ball down here. So it's the abs that are really kind of free floating from the rest of the body. But with it, he can go back that far. Like I said, if you kind of angle the head, he can look up a lot higher. It's good for those flying poses. And then he can kind of crunch down a little bit, not very much, but he can go side to side. And twist, of course, the bottom can twist, it seems, but doesn't like to. It's really the top bit here that does. Then the hips, you gotta wedge the armor underneath the hip there, but you can kick out that far. Kick forward a bit further. He has double jointed pinless knees, and the back of the, not quite heel, but the heel that's on the shin can kick his own butt. No boot rotation really, but the ankles do go down a little bit. They go up a little bit, and he does have the standard pivot, but the ball in there is also rotatable, so he can kind of twist and pivot with that as well. So with all that, what are my final thoughts on this Ultimate Iron Man? So Ultimate Iron Man was not the figure I was most excited for from this wave, or just in general from the Ultimate Universe, but this figure is pretty solid. Like, I could sit here and complain that he didn't come with an unmasked head, or on a helmet, or an helmeted head, or even blast effects, but I have plenty of blast effects, and I don't think I'm ever gonna really display or take pictures of him without the helmet, so there's no real point to complain about that. Otherwise, I think it's a good figure. The neck and torso articulation should get more range, in my opinion, but with what is here, I was still able to get some decent poses, at least enough to satisfy me, so I'm not really upset by that. Overall, I think it's a solid release. I don't know what more they could have really added to him to make him even better. Like I mentioned, another head, yeah, sure, but it's not a necessary thing. Overall, I just think it's a solid release, and I don't have much really to complain about. In terms of fun factor, I'll say yeah. Yeah, he was a pretty fun figure. I posed him up with a few other figures, and it felt very dynamic. So what's my final rating? I'm going to give him an 8.5 out of 10. It's not a necessary Iron Man for your collection. It's very much if you are building out the Ultimates, or if you want to build out your Iron Man armory. But it's not going to be your definitive Iron Man in a display unless you really like the Ultimate Universe. So I think it's a solid 8.5 out of 10. If you can get them on sale, it's an amazing steal. But paying full price, I think you would still be pretty satisfied with what you're getting here. All right, and that was my review of these two Ultimate figures, Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Ultimate Iron Man from the Mini Comics wave. What did you think of my review? Do you agree with my thoughts and opinions? Did you pick up these figures? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure you are liking this video. Make sure you are subscribing, because I've got all kinds of videos coming on the way. I'm kind of behind, but also trying to keep up. Lots of stuff coming in the mail. Exciting things. Make sure you're subscribed for all of it, because I will do my best to make sure I get it all out very, very soon. So with all that being said, I will talk to you all in another video, another post, another time.